I'm Audrey.
And I'm Brad.
And this is our bus sprint.
Welcome to the kitchen. We did butcher block on the top, and then underneath here we've got all our cleaning supplies, and we got 30 gallons of fresh water. Everything runs through that and is feed through the outside of the bus, and then that runs up here to our sink, which also is our shower, which goes out through this window right here. So the shower's super convenient for us. We've only used it a few times, but when it gets really hot, like down in Florida or California or something like that, it's way better to rinse off than just using your wipes or whatever else you'd use in your bus. We wanted to use as much space as possible, and as we got our sink right here, I wanted to have our sponges and any sort of cleaning things not on our butcher block and not making it wet all the time. So I've just got a little fold down instead of using the drawer, so we could still utilize that space, and then we got our dishwashing detergent and our sponges and everything there. And then as we move over to the other side, we have our 2-burner propane stove. Under there we got a propane tank, and then all of our water comes in from this side. In here is just all of our cutlery and chopping boards and things like that. We put locks on all of our drawers and all of our doors and everything, so they don't come open as you're driving down the road. So our cabinets, we used all of the existing luggage racks, as you can see, and then we put false door fronts on the top. These are all magnet and on. And we have all our cooking stuff up here. So obviously our bus is pretty small, so the skylight is put in just so I could stand and do pretty much everything in the kitchen. Kitchen is probably the place that you're standing the most in your bus, so every other time we're either sitting on the couch or sitting on the other chair or being on the bed or whatever. So to have the skylight, one, was awesome because you let natural light in, but two, we're able to stand and we're not knocking our head every time we're walking around. So okay, so over here we have our toilet, and this was really important for our layout because we wanted to have a space where we could sit opposite each other for dinner, so we're not sitting next to each other on our bench over here. So what I've done is we've put in just a little false cushion here, and then everything folds up. So we just have a cassette toilet in here. It's nothing too crazy, but it works great for us, great for emergencies. We find we don't need to use it all that much. Being on the road, you're always going places where there's bathrooms, whether you're at Walmart or anything like that. So that's our emergency toilet, and we haven't had to use it, but it's been great in a pinch. But it's also allowed us to be able to sit across from each other on our table. So then I can turn around and sit here, and this table flips up, and me and Audrey can sit opposite each other and have dinner, play cards, play games, whatever that is, and that makes it really simple.
So before we were living in the bus, I was working in a hospital. I was a nurse, and Brad was working a sales job, actually selling school buses. And before I even met Brad, I really wanted to do travel nursing and live in a trailer. Then we met, and he knew that I always wanted to do that. We were stuck in the DC area just because he was on a work visa, so he couldn't leave the area. And then since he was working at a school bus company, this bus came on the lot, and he had the idea to make it into a home instead of just going around in a trailer. And yeah, I mean, at first it sounded like a lot of work, but then he said he'd do it also. I was like, that'll be great. And so that once we got Brad a green card, we were able to leave the DC area and transition into this type of living. We do still kind of work a little bit. I work remote still, teaching nursing students, and that's been amazing, still being able to work while we live in the bus. And Brad now kind of does a little bit of like real estate investing, and we love it. It's the perfect balance for us. We get to adventure all of the time. We get to explore every day and still, you know, have it as a realistic life that we can, you know, it can last a long time like this. So, alrighty, so this area is our pantry, front of the bus area. These cabinet spaces up here, we had a tough time deciding what to do with them, whether we'd leave them open or close them off, and we decided to go with this, which we're super happy with. Up in here used to be where all the wiring was. We ended up taking, I mean, it was like this much wiring, so we ended up taking all of that out and only left the wiring that we needed. All of the wiring in the bus now is actually covered by this board here. We wanted it to be easily accessible in case there were any issues with our lights or anything like that. So you just take off a few screws and you can pull this board out and still get to all of our wiring. Up in here, we just use this area as like our first aid, couple of cleaning things, just little, you know, mix match stuff up there. And then over here is our pantry. Yeah, we just loved having this much space for all of our food, all of our, everything we could possibly need. Right now it's a little bit empty just because we're living in bear country, but usually this is very full. And then over here, this area, we just use this for all of our shoes. When we had the bus initially, you know, this area was super dirty and messy, and we wanted to find something that could just clean it up, but also it does need to be removable in case we get any service or anything like that. We need to be able to get to the engine in there. So this we can take out super easily. But it also really helps when we're driving down the road and I have a place to, you know, work a little bit or make sandwiches while we're driving down the road. This area is really nice. We did put in this chair. This was one of the last things that we did. Initially, while Brad was driving, I was just going to sit in the back. And the more we thought about that, we realized we really wouldn't want to do that, and also it's not very safe. So putting this in was a big decision because we really didn't want to lose space moving in and out through our entrance, but in the end, it really hasn't taken away from any of our space, and we're so happy that it's here. We can talk to each other super easily. We're not super separated while the bus is running and it's loud. We can't hear each other. This is really great for us. There's plenty of leg space. We were also kind of worried about that, just not having leg space, but there's plenty of leg space. This chair can move back a little bit. So we're really happy we put that in there. So this is our sitting area, which took us a long time to figure out what we wanted to do. We played around with a lot of ideas, but we ended up with this one and we really love it. So both of these, they flip up, which is a lot of storage for us. We have our fridge underneath here, and then this is just extra storage. There's a ton of space down there. And these also, other than flipping up, they pull out, and we have other cushions that are in the back that we put on top of it. So one thing that we really wanted was a space for people, if they wanted to stay with us, they could. So this is kind of just another little second bed that if we do have people, they can sleep with us as well. So we just lift this one up, and then our fridge is right here. It's AC and DC. Yeah, it's pretty big. It's definitely enough space for us. We usually just, you know, most of our stuff does not need to be refrigerated, but the stuff that we do have, it definitely is more than enough space for that. Up here, in this cabinet, we usually keep all of our shower stuff. We use a gym membership. So we have just kind of like a go bag up here, a towel, our shampoo, all of that stuff. And then we just keep kind of like all of our books and just random stuff up here. And then in these two far cabinets, we keep all of our winter coats. When we were building it, we thought we would need a lot more storage than we do. So we really prioritized having storage everywhere and just as much storage as we could have. Once we've moved into it, we realized we have so much storage. So there's actually a lot of empty space in here. So it's really nice, you know, if we have just random things that we accumulate over time, there's so much space for that. We feel like we're living really minimally, but also we have enough space for everything that we could need. For our curtains, we did make these. I just sewed them. There are actually 2 layers to them. So most of the time we do have these down. And we have, in the back, we have these little insulation patches that we use that we put behind these, and they work so well. They really keep heat in or keep it cool in here, whatever, you know, the temperature is outside. But so underneath this, there's kind of like a sheer layer, so you can roll this one up, and there's a little clip here just to hold the canvas up. And we thought it would give us a little bit more privacy than it does, but it's okay. Like on a nice day, we like to just kind of have something down. So it's not super dark in here. We can still let air in and light in, but not have it like totally closed off to everything.
I'm from Australia, and I came over here to go to college 5 years before I met Audrey, and then once I got my job and I met her, and we decided to do this bus. I was pretty excited, honestly, for the build. I love working my hands and sort of being creative on that side. So the woodwork and the cabinetry and all of that I was super excited for. There was times with the other things like electric where I just didn't do anything for a month because it was just trying to work things out and troubleshooting and looking them up online and being like, okay, this is what they say, but is it actually real? So yeah, it took me a while to get my head around the electric, but honestly, once I did a little research and got into it, it was pretty simple, and our electric design is pretty simple. We don't need too much. So yeah, I feel really confident with that now, and feel really good about doing other things. So yeah, the whole build was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it. Got to spend a lot of time together doing it. So yeah, it was great. Welcome to the sleeping area. The bed actually looks really small, but once you sort of pull the pillows away and you kind of get back there, you got about 4 feet, which is about the size of a full bed. Me and Audrey fit on it very easily, and then the length is bigger, so it's like 8 feet long. So there's actually a ton of space up there, and it's really comfortable for us. We decided to keep our factory AC unit, which we are so happy about, especially driving in the summer, like down in Florida and things like that. It gets super hot, and that thing cools the bus really quick. So really glad we kept that. We just painted it and tried to make it match the rest of the bus, and I think it fits in pretty well. Biggest benefit to the bed being a little bit smaller is Audrey has to cuddle. She's not a big cuddler, so when I made the bus, I was like, well, if I just do it a little bit shorter, she's kind of stuck with what it is. So a little bonus for me, that's for sure. And so also in the sleeping area, when we built the bus, everything was based around storage. So what I decided to do was put the bed half on hydraulics. So there's a little latch in here, and then the bed kind of folds up. So if we get in here, I still, since the day I was building the bus, still use my trusty hammer here to hold this thing up. Great thing about this is we've got our 3 sections. So one for Audrey, one for me, and then all of our warm clothes and things like that are super bulky, that as soon as you put one jacket up in these cabinets, it kind of fills it up. So this was a big thing for me when I was building it, and it's also one of the big reasons the bus is so high, the bed is so high, I mean, is because I got that extra space there, and I wanted extra storage underneath, which we'll show you guys later, but it gives us so much. So that's kind of the bus, and it's split like this, and on the other side is a shelf where we put our snowboards and all our sporting equipment. So all right, so we like to spend most of our time up in the mountains, especially in the winter. We love snowboarding and skiing, so one of the big things for us was our heater and how we were going to get that to work and stay warm. So what we ended up doing was a diesel heater. We tapped into our fuel tank, ran a hose down into that, sealed it all off, and it's just got a little pumps up. Takes a little bit of electricity, but hardly anything. So we have the on station, everything here, which you can kind of unclip and pull out if you need to. But works super easily, works really well. And then that all hooks into the back, and the heater's actually situated right behind the table here. And we've got a vent down here. You give it about 5 to 10 minutes once it's turned on, and it is super toasty in here. We've only used it on its lowest setting, and it's been super warm. So really stoked with how that turned out. Really recommend it. The heat's super dry. You get no wetness inside the bus, moisture wise, and yeah, I couldn't think of anything better. I think the biggest adjustment for us moving into the bus is pretty much everything to do with the bathroom. We have a toilet, but we try not to use it. It's kind of there for emergencies. So anytime you need to go somewhere, you need to find a bathroom, and sometimes you can't find a bathroom. And then the other side of that would also be like showers. Like for us to have a shower, we need to go to a gym. We need to find the gym in that area and sort of build a couple of hours around going there. So I think things just take a bit more time. And as long as you're good, just like relaxing and taking it as it comes, it's not too bad. But if sometimes you just want a shower and it's an hour and a half away and you just got to sit in it. So it just is what it is. But it's been getting used to it, but now it's just normal day life, and it's not too bad.
Getting to adventure every day, every day we get to look up on our map what we want to do, what cool place can we see, what cool hike or cool landmark, or what national park do we want to go to, and there really aren't any restrictions, so it's been amazing. We just really love it.
Yeah, so good. Welcome to the outside of the bus. This is our garage section right here. There's sort of two sections to our garage. The top section I built for purely our snowboards. So our bindings and our snowboards fit perfectly in this gap. And I just wanted to have our wet stuff away from the rest of the bus. So we put that in here, and as you've seen in the front, on the inside of the bus, there's that shelf there for all our clothes. So everything there is the same size and the same level, so it made it super easy. And then everything underneath pretty much is tools, generator, and a bit of our climbing stuff. On the left-hand side, we have our battery bank and our solar coming down to that. Solar for us, we didn't need anything too crazy. So everything's 12 volt. We just have 2 long life batteries and then our control module, which links to our solar and comes down through into our batteries. So from there, that's all we have. And then we have a little fuse box, and we run our lights, our water pump, our USB port, our heater, and our fridge off of. And that's pretty much it. We don't need anything more than that. And yeah, that's pretty much all we have there for our electric. So we're here over by the driver's door, and this is where we do all our water. So we just have a water tube right here, runs down into the tank, fills it up. Super simple, super easy, gravity fed, so hose goes in down to the bottom and good from there. We decided to go with Plasti Dip for the paint. It's a little bit less prep work than doing a real paint, and if you have any runs or anything like that, you just wipe it off and spray over it. So it gave us a really nice finish, and you didn't have to be a professional painter to get it done. So took us a few days, lots of prep work, kind of like painting, but not as detailed. You don't need to do as much sanding or anything like that. So we went with ease. We're pretty stoked with how it turned out. We haven't had any issues really yet with coming off. It won't last as long as like an industrial paint. But if you do have any issues or anything like that, you can just spray over it again. So it's way cheaper. It gives you a good look, no runs if you're not a professional painter, and if you want to change it, just spray over it. So this is a 4-window bus, so it's very short, fits into a small car park, which has been great for us. We can take it anywhere we want to take it. Engine's a Detroit. It's a GMC Savannah 3500 chassis with a Thomas body. And fuel mileage has been really good, actually. We get close to 13. Unless I'm going really fast on the freeway. So if I'm going up to 80, then we'll lose a little bit there. We'll go down to about 11 or 12. But if I stick at that 55, 60 range, yeah, that 13, 14 mark's really good for us. We've only got 53,000 miles on this thing at the moment. We bought it with like 47,000 on it. So no, it's been great, super reliable. Haven't really had any issues with it at all yet. So she's going great.
So our plans for the future, because Brad does a lot of real estate investing, is really just to kind of go to an area, see how much we like it, see if this is an area we can invest in, and then let him work on some projects, you know, whether that's flipping a place or getting a place rentable, and then moving on from there, seeing if there's another area that we like as well, or if we want to stay in the area. We're super open to whatever, but we are, you know, kind of thinking about selling the bus if there is a longer project that we want to be working on in one area, and just kind of going from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if we did decide to sell the bus, we'll try and be in an area that we loved. So up in the mountains somewhere where we could have some time, and then maybe build out maybe something a little bit bigger if we decide to have a family sometime, or something like that, and go from there. We really love this, and it's kind of our baby. So yeah, that's kind of what I think we would be doing in the future, which is cool.
If you want to follow along our journey, our handle is ourbusbryn. And if you know, Brad does a lot with conversion, so if you have any questions about a custom build, or if you potentially want some help with one, or have him do a custom build for you, we're totally open to that. But thank you so much for coming and seeing our home.
Yeah, thanks guys.